Let's talk about colored pencils and adding color to our drawings once we're done. Now, a normal coloring book would be just picking up a pencil and coloring in the whole thing. If this is a bluebird, coloring it all in blue. But I want you to elevate your drawing skills by looking a little bit closer and practicing first. In the art room that we have, I supply students with Prismacolor pencils. They're a little bit higher quality than your Crayola or Crazy Art or standard colored pencils, in that the core and what's inside of them, the pigment, is a little bit higher quality and it allows to blend a little bit better, goes on a little bit smoother. You might like it. You can still get good results with your other colored pencils. I prefer to use Prismacolors or a little bit higher quality. So if I'm looking at these birds, let's get to it here, and I'm talking about a bluebird. If I notice this bluebird is not all blue, there's lots of different colors of blue. So I'm gonna have a scrap piece of paper nearby, and I'm gonna start to practice, like maybe a quick sketch this bluebird and figure out what kind of blues I want inside. Now, is this the right blue for that whole bluebird? Well, parts of it might be this blue, but other parts might be a little bit darker. What happens if I blend this blue in with a darker blue to make a darker tone? Does that look like some of the blue in here? It might look a little bit too purple. So maybe I grab this blue again and I experiment with other colors. Maybe I add some cream to it. I don't know, maybe this yellowish color. Okay, maybe that looks a little bit too green. Maybe I add white to it. Maybe I add, that might be not a bad one for some areas, the teal color to it. That might be getting a little bit too teal compared to my picture. Maybe I need to add purplish to it instead of the blue. Maybe I want to add purple. You know, you're going to experiment with all the different colors and layering it up to make sure that you're getting all the color variations. In this bluebird, I see light blue on the back of the wings, dark blue in some of the shadowy areas, even darker down here on the wing. That's not quite a black, it's kind of mixed with the blue. Maybe I add a brown to the blue to make it a darker tone. Sometimes if you go straight black on a color, it really takes up and overwhelms the color. So try to avoid a straight black, but you're gonna come up with a recipe, is what I like to call it, of different layers of colors. And once you find the mixes that you like, you might want to read the name of it and write it down and what order you put it in. You might decide, if I put down this color first and then white on top, that's going to be a color I need. Or maybe if you put down this color first, then the dark blue, then the same light blue again, that will be a color that I could use. So you want to kind of figure out the order and the recipe. And as you've been noticing, I'm pressing kind of hard to get it to blend. You can really have colored pencils start to look like paint almost if you're doing a good job of slowly building up layers and then making it a more intense and saturated color. And that's where a higher quality colored pencil comes in. Sometimes you can get more saturated colors and you're able to blend. It also helps to have a better paper quality that allows you to add more layers of color on. So if I'm over here and I'm adding color, again, this is kind of looking like a coloring book so far. I'm lightly coloring it in all one color. If I want to look more realistic, I'm gonna go back in and start to blend my colors. I did like that white in this area, and I'm using the white to kind of scrub and smooth out that, smooth those smaller feathers out there on top of that bluebird. As I go down, I can add some of the texture of that wing, and then maybe I add some of the darker blue for the lines that we see on there, the lighter blue on top to give it some of that color. Now, if I don't want to add white on top of this because I don't want it to look too grayed out or too white, I also have this colorless blender. If I color with it, it looks like a wooden pencil and kind of looks gray on top. If I just color with it normal, nothing happens. But if I go over the top of my colors, it will start to blend them together for me. Again, a little bit more like paint, and smudging it, but not with a finger that's going to look messy, but kind of blending it in so it's smooth, so we get those different color variations. And then I can go on top and add some more of the details of the lines or the feathers or the stripes or however it might want to look. So the key is to have a piece of scrap paper and really push yourself to look at the different variations. It's not all one color. It's not all blue. The belly of this bird's not all orange. It's not just a black or a brown head. There's a lot of different color variations, and see what recipes you can put together with the colors that you have in your pack, how you layer them and how you blend them, and make sure then that you press nice and heavy to get a good saturation. Use white or use the colorless blender then to smooth it in, and you can really, really make these shine and have a statement piece that looks more realistic. So go ahead and give it a shot and experiment and do the best you can when you add it to your final draft.